Hey, this is Corey Glover, and I'm blowing it up on MetalgodZradiO.
Hey, everybody, this is Zoran Theodorovic, a.k.a. the Mighty Z, of MetalgodZradiO. We have Corey Glover of Disciples of Verity on the phone. How are you doing this morning, Corey?
I'm doing just fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. What's new in the world of Corey Glover?
Well, living in times of quarantine and great unrest. So the combination makes for good songwriting.
Absolutely. How has the pandemic affected you personally? And do you recall the first things you refrained from as a precaution?
Leaving the house was the first thing I refrained from. It was interesting. I was on the road when the stay in place and the quarantine sort of hit. And the first thing I did was I got on a plane, got into a cab, went to go get my sons from my ex-wife and bring them to my home. And they've been here ever since. And we sheltered in place, and occasionally we'd go to the supermarket to get some things, but really not going anywhere, not doing anything. But we enjoy ourselves. We're enjoying ourselves.
Yeah, we live in Oakland, and
okay.
we hop in the car and go for drives. We go to the parks, go up to the hills and walk around.
Right.
Try to stay as far away from people as possible. I know that I believe it was last week was Juneteenth.
Yep.
So we went and drove around by the parks, and it was pretty nuts. Pretty nuts.
It is. Fortunately, I live a block away from the biggest park in the city that I live in, and we've taken to riding bikes and taking walks around the park. And it's been relatively quiet here where I live. I live a few miles outside of New York City, and it's been relatively quiet here. So it hasn't been that bad, and we're getting our exercise and we're getting some fresh air and sunshine, which is good. Which is and if necessary, we'll take a drive to some place that's cool, literally cooler than where we are, where it's hot, and. But for the most part, we've been in place by ourselves and taking care of ourselves, which is really important. Just some real sort of self-care, some learning new things. My sons and I have been taking guitar lessons because I desperately need to learn more than 3 chords. Mm-hmm. We've been having these in-depth conversations about the world and what's going on around us. The George Floyd thing and the Breonna Taylor thing was hit really, really hard for all of us in the house. And the whole conversation around being black in America became a focal point for us. Like a large conversation for us. And what that means. My sons are of a certain age where they already got the talk. They've already got the how you deal with police. They've already gotten the how you're perceived in this world. But it really brought that idea home, given what's going on out right now.
You want to talk a little bit about Black Lives Matter and how your perception of it may differ or be the same as people such as Candace Owens or others that. Well,
I don't think there's anything I agree. Any person I agree with less than Candace Owens. I don't believe anything she says is real, or for that matter, based on anything that she's ever experienced personally. I don't know her. I don't want to know her. But I believe that Black lives do matter. They matter because they have not mattered ever since we've gotten here. They've mattered less than anything else in this world. And they do matter. They matter for me. They matter for my family. They matter for the people around me, and they should matter to other people. And the fact that they don't is a problem.
And now, to lighten things up a little bit, you have a new album. The new album, Disciples of Verity. Well,
that's right.
It's important for me to talk to you about these kinds of things. This is an important thing to discuss. If you don't talk about it, people will just move on to, I don't know, popcorn.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. I've been doing a bunch of interviews today. You're the first person who's actually talked about it. From Oakland, right? Because that's an episode. You know what I mean? Because Oakland, like Brooklyn, like Atlanta, like parts of L.A. This is a discussion that's been had forever. Charlotte, North Carolina, they've been talking about this for as long as it's been a discussion. I find it fascinating that, like everything else in culture, it takes a minute for the rest of the world to catch on. But eventually you're going to get it. So, anyway, let's talk about Disciples of Verity.
Yeah, the new album is amazing. You must be very proud of yourself. I
am very proud of this. As I've been saying this over and over again, but this is my opportunity to make a real metal record. You know what I mean? And it's not that I haven't been in bands that have done something like this, but this is exclusively about it being hard as nails metal record, and I can't be more proud of it.
I'm really digging Remember Living. You have Terry McLeod of Kitty as a guest on that album, on that song. How familiar are you with Kitty, and do you have a history with Kitty?
I don't have a history with Kitty, and I'm not very familiar with Kitty, but it was amazing. It has, all the songs in one way or another are very internal. They're very much the internal thoughts of a person. This person happened to be me. But it is very much about the insides. And what I do know about Kitty is that that's what they're about as well. It's a very sort of in your head, in your body sort of thing. So,
how did you go about divvying up the songs to guests?
Whatever the song requires, right? Song needs a particular guitar player. You got Morgan Rose on one song because you need that kind of drumming on it. We needed Loomis for what he provides as a guitar player. We make the song says what it needs. Song always says what it needs.
And, how important is coffee? Do you take it black or with additives?
I don't drink coffee.
You never drink coffee?
I do drink coffee. If I need to get somewhere, if I need to be awake, if I need to have if I really want to have a real sort of in-depth conversation, caffeine will do it. But on a regular basis, I don't drink coffee. I have HDAD, whatever it's called. I'm a little too hyperactive and attention deficit to really have coffee in my life. The coffee will just set me off, and I will be off on tangents for the rest of my life.
Do you have any daily snake oil remedies or not approved by the FDA rituals?
I'm sure that I do. Nothing really expensive. I'll drink my kombucha and my apple cider vinegar, and I burn a lot of sage. I burn a lot of Santo Paulo. Dragon's blood, that kind of stuff. Keep my mind right.
And how do how's the songwriting process changed, or at least how has the recording process changed for you over the years? I mean, you've been in the business for a while, and clearly things have changed.
Well, you know, it's changed in that you can do all this stuff from home now. You know, one of the things that the pandemic sort of did for me is made me have to get my home studio thing together. I had to get a recorder. I had to get all these microphones. I had to do this in my house, where I could have gone to a studio or to somebody else's house who had this equipment. Now I have to do it for myself, you know, and be prepared to do this stuff. I did a few things with some people while during the pandemic that was kind of a challenge for me to sort of get my gear together so that I could do what I needed to do.
The new single is The Flow. Is that's Morgan from Seven Dust on there?
Yeah.
How much time do you spend on social media engaging with fans?
Not as much as I should, I'm sure. I'm more of a lurker than anything else. Like, I like to observe what's going on, because that's not the real world. I like to be with the real world.
The schedule for your next show, it says, is next month in Tennessee. Do you know if that's still going on?
I don't know if that's happening. I'd like to think that it is, but there's no guarantees with the Rona. You know what I mean? It's tough to say whether Tennessee is becoming a hotspot for COVID. So I'd rather be safe than sorry.
In this brave new world, or maybe even grave new world that we live in, you wouldn't rule anything out. You wouldn't rule playing at a drive-in theater, would you?
No, not at all. I'd do that. I think, I don't know how intimate that becomes, but yeah, I don't mind. I wouldn't mind doing that.
Well, thank you for your time. Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share with anybody that might be listening to this? Well, I hope you listen to the music with an open mind and hope you get something from it.